Ah! Spooked the hell out of me, man. It's Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Easily one of the worst things Nintendo's ever done. It did have some potential. You could say that about some of the biggest natural disasters on the planet. That deadly tornado had the potential to be a nice breeze. I remember when this was revealed at E3 2015. It was all building up to what we assumed would have been like a legitimate mainline Animal Crossing announcement for Wii U. It's been a couple of years since Animal Crossing New Leaf. We were getting this new spin-off on the 3DS, Happy Home Designer. A little bit before Nintendo's E3 2015 presentation, Animal Crossing Amiibo were leaked. So, it was all leading up to, oh yeah, Animal Crossing for Wii U is gonna get announced. And hey, that isn't completely inaccurate. This is one of those game reveals where you just have to ask, like, did anybody in the room, like, think about the potential backlash? This game was revealed with, like, an Isabelle amiibo getting tapped on a Wii U gamepad, and, like, there's this sound effect that played that was like, like, oh man, some grand reveal. Like what? You see that amiibo and you instantly think, like, oh, what's going to follow is going to be a damn party game. Like, no, everybody seeing that immediately thought, oh my god, a mainline Animal Crossing game for Wii U. For some reason, it feels like Nintendo doesn't really understand that spin-offs don't often get the same reaction as, like, an actual main game in a franchise. And thus, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival was revealed. It looked horrible. And when it finally released, by Jove, this was not a case of false advertising. Yeah, it's not a good game. It controls like piss because you have to use these damn amiibo figures to roll your dice. It's so slow and boring, and like there's barely any content in this game. Like, yeah, you can play some mini game side modes and they're all bad. Some of them reach the status of like okay, but like I never want to play them again. The Desert Island escape mode in this game is often considered like, oh yeah, that's the one. That's what most people were saying back in the day. Like if people were reviewing Amiibo Festival, they were saying like, hey, Desert Island Escape, that's a good mode in this. All these years later, I have to ask, you still think that? Because I don't care about Desert Island Escape. You don't care about Desert Island Escape. Who the f cares about Desert Island Escape? In the end, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival is a brain-dead party game that was cobbled together insanely quickly to capitalize on the fact that Amiibo were doing pretty damn well. And Amiibo were doing pretty damn well because of the Super Smash Bros. Line. But around the time this game came out, they were starting to run out of Super Smash Bros. Characters to make Amiibo for. So it's very obvious to me that Nintendo intended the Animal Crossing line to kind of take over as like their go-to main Amiibo line from that point forward. But of course, they didn't have a main series Animal Crossing game ready to release around this time, so they just barfed this fucking thing out. I mean, during developer interviews, like the developers admitted to the fact that like, oh, this game exists just because like, yeah, we wanted Animal Crossing Amiibo. That's it. And throughout 2015, Amiibo suffered stock problems. That was like a big thing. The fact that you couldn't get many figures at all. Like it was impossible to find Ness or Shulk or what have you. But around the fall of 2015, a lot of these stock problems Nintendo kind of figured out. So I remember walking into like a Toys R Us and just seeing a wall of Amiibo that I thought were like impossible to find like months ago. And yeah, they were just all there for MSRP. And as much as we all hated the fact that Amiibo were like impossible to get throughout the majority of 2015, I think that kind of drove a lot of that Amiibo madness that a lot of us Nintendo fans got contracted with. And the fact these things were so hard to find, that's why we wanted them half the time. So let's add all this up, all right? By the time this game came out, pretty much Amiibo stock problems were solved. So, people weren't nearly as interested in Amiibo. Also, the fact that the initial Smash Brothers line was wrapping up. Like fall of 2015, we were starting to get the DLC characters, and we pretty much had everybody from the base roster as figures at this point. And then you launch the Animal Crossing Amiibo line, and it doesn't go along with an actual main series Animal Crossing game. It's all for this game on a failed console, and the game itself is bad. So what do we get? A ton of Lottie amiibos at Five Below. Yeah, if you don't know what a Five Below store is, they are kind of the discount $5 or below stores where most of their stock seems to come from places that, you know, they can't sell that stuff. You know, they just have excess stock somewhere. So Five Below will buy it for cheap and sell it at their store. And, a lot of Animal Crossing amiibo were there. In fact, Animal Crossing amiibo were like flooding store shelves everywhere. Nobody was buying them because there was no point to it at all. These Animal Crossing amiibo figures pretty much only worked with Amiibo Festival. But to be honest, I don't really think amiibo functionality is like that big of a deal when it comes to how well amiibo will sell. I think it's mainly down to like the characters. But here's the big thing that just kind of made the Animal Crossing amiibo figures just kind of like pointless. They were only like the special NPC characters, you know, not the characters that would move into town with you, you know, the characters that would work in your town, you know, Isabelle, Tom Nook, KK Slider. If you wanted amiibo of the characters that would move into your town, you'd have to get the Animal Crossing amiibo cards. But here's the thing, if you play Animal Crossing, you are a million times more passionate about your villagers than you are about like these special NPC characters. Yes, I like these characters. They're the faces of Animal Crossing, but like, they're in everybody's game. Bam! He's mine! He's in my game! And when we're talking about functionality, I mean, in Happy Home Designer, these cards like were vital. Like they actually did a damn thing. And they were like way cheaper to get than these $13 figures. You got multiple characters in each pack. So much variety, so much more fun to collect the cards. The figures, I mean, all they really do in Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival is give you extra characters to play the board game with. And even then, in this game, getting the cards, you can do a million times more things. You can play all the mini games with the cards. You can't do shit with the figures. These things were pointless functionality-wise. And also, just as figures, like, yeah, I like these characters, but it's also like, I don't know, the cards are just so much more appealing to me when it comes to Animal Crossing collectibles. I don't think Nintendo was really expecting that. I mean, they were anticipating this to sell pretty damn well. As you can see here, limited time offer, Digby. So the original idea was that Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, the launch copies would come with Isabelle and Digby. And then later on, Digby would be removed, which, you know, I feel like is a little strange. I mean, this is a multiplayer party game, so, you know, I think it makes sense to come with 2 amiibo figures, so then at the very least, when you buy this game for the first time, you know, you can take it out of the box and you can play with another person. I don't know if the initial idea was like, oh, Digby is a limited time thing, and then maybe they'd swap Digby out for like Tom Nook or something. I don't know. But regardless, we'll never know what Nintendo would have done after this because they never did a second print run of Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. This is the only variant of the game that exists. Or is it? Yeah, this game absolutely bombed, and they pretty much put this thing on clearance like just a couple months after it released. Stores couldn't get rid of their copies of Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, so yeah, we never got a version without Digby. It keeps me up at night. I really wish I knew what would have happened. I was born in the wrong timeline. I know, it sucks. But here, I want to talk about like one of the strangest little amiibo variants, amiibo releases like I've ever seen. And this is all because Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival completely bombed. I believe these were available in GameStops. It is just these 2 amiibo figures just kind of hanging out here. They just sold them on their own. This is Isabelle and Digby interactive amiibo figurines. And no, this is not made by Nintendo at all. Obviously, the amiibo figures themselves are made by Nintendo, but everything around this, the packaging, it seems like this was primarily done just to get rid of this stock. As you can see, this uses like the same plastic container here. So I assume what happened was GameStop just took all their copies of Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival and gutted them, kept the Amiibo figures, and just created this box for them. And at first, I thought this was done by Nintendo, but like, no. They have these descriptions for the characters that seems pretty legit, but then I see the fact that like, it just says Switch and 2DS XL, 3DS XL. You know, Nintendo would call them specifically, it's Nintendo Switch. They don't call it just Switch. This little Amiibo figurine diagram just doesn't look like legit. Like, it looks like they have this weird like little star icon, and it almost looks like they're trying to like do like a non-copyrighted Amiibo icon. I don't know. But of course, the main thing here is the fact when we look down here, this product is not sponsored or endorsed by the company mentioned. Logos, trademarks, and copyrights are the property of the respected owner. All rights reserved. And then you actually look at like how this box is decorated, and yeah, it's very kind of like, hey, let's go to stock photo websites and find something that kind of looks like Animal Crossing-ish. Like, let's put fruit in a house. What is this, like the Garden of Eden? But yeah, it's like nothing specific to Animal Crossing here. Just stuff that kind of gives off like an Animal Crossing-ish vibe. But yeah, man, I just found this to be one strange little release. I believe I saw these mainly at GameStops around the time that Animal Crossing New Horizons released. And that was a big deal considering the fact that, hey, Animal Crossing Amiibo cards kind of actually blew up around that time because they actually served a damn purpose. You could use those things to call in any villager you'd want. So yeah, Animal Crossing Amiibo cards actually were doing really well. Which is weird because Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival originally came with 3 unique Animal Crossing Amiibo cards. You know, you have Goldie, Rosie, and Stitches here. And they came in this nice little envelope here. Yeah, that isn't included in this package. It's literally just Isabelle and Digby. That's it. So my thought is, what did they do with the cards? What did they do with the copies of Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, like the game itself? But hey, I don't actually know if these are just the figures. I haven't opened this up yet. So let's open it up. These are just the figures. What a weird-ass release this was, man. An unauthorized, unlicensed repackaging of Isabelle and Digby from the Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival box. You don't include the 3 Amiibo cards, and if this released around the time of Animal Crossing New Horizons, like if you would include 3 Amiibo cards, like that would have actually done like pretty damn well, considering like those were in pretty hot demand at that time. But I assume GameStop wanted to just, hey, like Animal Crossing is hot right now. We have Animal Crossing Amiibo figures. But hey, I mean, like when they're in the Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival box, it kind of just looks like, you know, nobody wants to buy like a game that they're not gonna play just for some figures. So let's just take the figures out and repackage them as their own thing. And then people might buy them because it's just like, oh, they're just cute figures. I feel like when you look at like this, it no longer looks like, oh, I want to get those for the cute figures. I think your brain automatically tells you, oh, I gotta have a Wii U. And you know nobody was thinking that. Yeah, man, I just found this to be just a funny little release. A funny little use of resources. You know, hey, we have like 1 million leftover copies of Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. What are we gonna do about it? Transform that into 1 million leftover copies of this box of Amiibo figures. Who the hell bought this?